Christine Brown once shared her deepest feelings about pregnancy, stories that touched fans and made them laugh. But behind those confessions was a much darker truth. Because later, when she took a stand against disrespect, Christine wasn't just dismissed. She was gaslit, isolated, and humiliated by the very family she once called her own. This is the story of how Christine went from cherished mother to isolated outcast, and why those moments still haunt Sister Wives fans today. And what began with pregnancy confessions ended with betrayal that changed everything.
I didn't know what to expect because you always see people on the TV and they shoot it and then they cough. I think David took it easy on me and he made it with one that had a lot of sugar and stuff in it. So yes, it burned, but it was pretty sweet.
Part 1. Christine Brown, third wife to Kody in the Sister Wives family, has always been open about motherhood. With 6 children of her own, her life has been shaped by pregnancy, birth, and the struggles of raising kids in a plural marriage. But in one intimate moment, she went beyond the physical realities of pregnancy and shared her feelings about each one. She described how each pregnancy felt, almost as if she had a personal emotional bond with every child before they were born. To some, it was touching. To others, it was confusing. And to a few, well, it was hilarious. But why did such a personal confession turn into one of the show's most debated fan moments? That's where things get complicated. In her heartfelt admission, Christine explained that each pregnancy carried its own spirit, its own emotional weight. She said she felt differently connected to each child, even before meeting them. For Christine, this wasn't about science. It wasn't about biology. It was about love. To Christine, every baby was a story waiting to unfold, and fans, couldn't help but react. But not everyone understood, and the backlash was just beginning. As clips of Christine's words spread across social media, the Sister Wives community exploded. Some fans said, "This is beautiful. She's a spiritual mother." Others laughed, saying, "Christine, that's not how pregnancy works." And then came the skeptics, accusing her of exaggeration or using emotions for TV drama. What the Christine thought was a simple personal story turned into a viral debate, and the reactions grew sharper. Was Christine's confession proof of a deep emotional truth? Or just another example of how Sister Wives blurs reality with performance? The twist? Christine's words revealed more than just pregnancy stories. They showed her deepest struggle, the desire to feel seen and validated in a marriage where love was often divided. Her confession wasn't about biology at all. It was about carving out space for her own identity, as a woman, as a mother, and as someone fighting to hold on to her worth. And in that moment, fans finally understood. This was less about babies, and more about Christine herself. And once you see it that way, you can never watch that scene the same again. Christine's emotional honesty became a turning point. For years, she struggled in Kody's plural marriage, watching love and attention shift to others. But with each pregnancy memory, she reminded herself that she mattered. Her fans, especially women across the U.S., connected to this truth. Whether they had children or not, they knew the feeling of wanting their story to matter. Christine's words gave them that validation. Looking back, that confession was a hint of what was to come. Christine's decision to walk away from Kody wasn't sudden. It was built on years of realizing her emotions deserved to be heard. And in the end, Christine's pregnancy story wasn't about motherhood. It was about freedom. Christine Brown's emotional pregnancy confession may never make sense scientifically, but maybe that was never the point. What mattered was the courage to speak her truth, even if the world laughed, questioned, or misunderstood. Because sometimes the most personal stories are the most powerful. If Christine's story moved you, or even made you think twice, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs a reminder that their story matters too. And remember, sometimes the things that don't make sense are the things that reveal the most. Part 2. In every plural marriage, loyalty is tested. But for Christine Brown, loyalty was shattered in the most humiliating way. Kody introduced a close friend into the family circle, but this friend crossed a line, making a shocking comment about divorcing wives. To Christine, it wasn't just insensitive, it was cruel. And so, she drew a line. She refused to be around him, a woman standing in her truth. But instead of standing by her, Kody struck back with something far worse than the friend's comment itself. When Christine voiced her discomfort, Kody didn't listen. He didn't protect her. Instead, he accused her of overreacting. He blamed her emotions on PMS. He twisted her pain into weakness, making her question her own reality. That's gaslighting, the cruel art of making someone doubt their own truth. But what hurt Christine most wasn't even Kody's words. It was the silence from the women she thought were her sisters. When Christine looked around, expecting comfort, Janelle, Meri, and Robyn stayed silent. No one defended her. For Christine, that silence was louder than Kody's attack. It wasn't just one man against her anymore. It was the entire family dynamic, leaving her humiliated and alone. In polygamy, unity is everything. But in that moment, unity turned into isolation. Christine realized she was on her own. And that was the moment fans say her marriage to Kody was already over, long before the official divorce. The twist? This wasn't about Christine being emotional. It wasn't about PMS. It was about power. By dismissing Christine's pain, Kody was protecting his friend and protecting his control. And the sister wives' silence? It revealed a darker truth, that Christine could never rely on them to defend her. That dinner table moment wasn't just humiliation, it was foreshadowing, a preview of Christine's decision to finally walk away. And when fans saw it, they erupted. Fans flooded social media. Some called Kody's gaslighting disgusting. Others were outraged that the sister wives didn't speak up, and many women watching from home felt Christine's pain deeply because they had lived through gaslighting too. Christine became a symbol of strength, a woman who endured humiliation and chose freedom anyway. And today, her story resonates more than ever. Women across America saw themselves in Christine, not just a wife in polygamy, but a woman reclaiming her worth. And that's why fans say Christine's isolation wasn't the end. It was the beginning of her liberation. Christine Brown's refusal to accept disrespect was more than a moment of defiance. It was a declaration. Yes, she was gaslit. Yes, she was left alone, but in that silence, she found her strength. If Christine's story hit you hard, or if you've ever felt dismissed, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to know they're not alone. Because sometimes, the silence of others is what teaches you to raise your own voice. Let's deep dive in full details. Part 3. In early seasons, Christine was the heart of the Brown family. Nurturing, joyful, and deeply spiritual. She often spoke about her pregnancies with raw honesty. Christine explained that each pregnancy felt unique. Each baby carried its own emotional bond, almost as if she knew them before birth. Fans debated her words. Some were moved. Others questioned the logic. But for Christine, it was never about science. It was about love. These confessions gave fans insight into Christine's soul, a woman who believed deeply in motherhood. But they also revealed something else, her longing to feel valued in a family where attention was scarce. And when another test of loyalty came, not through pregnancy but through betrayal, it exposed the cracks Christine could no longer ignore. The breaking point came when Kody's close friend made a chilling remark about divorcing wives. For Christine, it was more than a joke. It was an attack on the very foundation of her marriage. Christine stood her ground. She refused to be around that friend. She expected her husband's support. But instead, she faced something far worse. Kody didn't protect Christine. He dismissed her, and what he said next would scar her forever. Kody turned on Christine. He told her she was overreacting. He blamed her emotions on PMS. This was classic gaslighting, twisting Christine's pain into weakness, making her question her own reality. And in that moment, Christine wasn't just hurt by her husband. She was abandoned by her sister wives, too. No one defended her, not Meri, not Janelle, not even Robyn. Christine was left humiliated and utterly alone. And for fans watching at home, many of them women who had lived through gaslighting themselves, the scene was more than TV. It was painfully real. Viewers erupted across social media. On Reddit, one fan wrote, "Kody blaming PMS was disgusting. This is emotional abuse." On Facebook, another added, "Christine deserved support, not humiliation." And on YouTube, reaction videos flooded timelines, with women sharing their own stories of being dismissed in marriages and workplaces. The community's outrage wasn't just about one comment. It was about the pattern. Christine's pregnancy confessions showed her emotional truth, but this betrayal showed her loneliness in that truth. And slowly, Christine's supporters realized these weren't isolated incidents. They were signs of a marriage already collapsing. The twist? Christine's story wasn't about motherhood or marital loyalty. It was about power. Kody protected his friend instead of his wife. The sister wives stayed silent, preserving the family's fragile peace instead of protecting Christine. And Christine? She began to realize the truth. She could never count on them to validate her pain. She would have to validate herself. The humiliation that began at a dinner table turned into the courage to walk away. Christine's decision to divorce Kody was written long before she said the words aloud, and fans, looking back, saw the signs. From pregnancy confessions to gaslighting betrayal, the journey was never about weakness. It was about Christine's awakening. Christine Brown's story matters because it's more than reality TV. Her pregnancy confessions showed the beauty of emotional connection. Her refusal to accept disrespect showed the strength of personal boundaries, and her eventual independence showed women everywhere that you don't need permission to choose yourself. If Christine's story resonated with you, if you've ever been dismissed, doubted, or gaslit, know this: your truth matters. When Sister Wives first aired in 2010, Christine was seen as the heart of the Brown household, cheerful, nurturing, always putting family first. She carried the role of peacemaker, often smoothing tensions that threatened to divide the family. But this was also a time when the family faced public scrutiny. In Utah, polygamy was technically illegal under bigamy laws, and the Browns even faced investigation in the early years. For Christine, the stakes were not just personal, they were legal, cultural, and deeply emotional. The early glow of optimism masked what would later become Christine's struggle, fighting to be valued in a marriage where love was never equal. Christine's story triggered an outpouring of raw emotion online. On Reddit, one user wrote, "I've lived this. My ex-husband blamed everything on PMS too. Watching Christine made me cry." On Facebook, hundreds of women commented, "Christine is all of us who stayed silent too long." And on TikTok, reaction clips went viral, with women reenacting Christine's silence at that infamous dinner table. The Sister Wives community wasn't just watching a TV show, they were reliving their own truths through Christine's pain. Experts in psychology have a term for what Christine endured: gaslighting. According to therapists, gaslighting happens when someone manipulates another person into doubting their own feelings, memories, or sanity. In relationships, it can destroy self-esteem and create emotional dependency. Christine's pregnancy confessions, so full of vulnerability, were her way of affirming her emotional truth. But Kody's dismissals, blaming her pain on PMS, fit the textbook definition of gaslighting. What viewers witnessed wasn't just family drama. It was an example of emotional abuse that millions of women recognized instantly. To understand Christine's breaking point, we need to revisit a past episodes. In Season 6, there was a dinner scene where Christine voiced her discomfort, and the room fell into silence. Her feelings were ignored, foreshadowing the humiliations to come. In Season 10, Christine broke down, saying she often felt invisible in the marriage. Fans now look back at those moments as warning signs, the slow unraveling of a woman's spirit long before she had the strength to leave. Christine's story did not end in despair. It ended in triumph. After leaving Kody, she built a new life in Utah, surrounded by children and supportive friends. She found love again with David Woolley, and fans celebrated her happiness as if it were their own victory. Christine's journey from emotional confessions to gaslighting betrayal, and finally to independence, made her not just a reality TV star, but a symbol of resilience. Her legacy proves that no matter how long you've been silenced, you can always choose to raise your voice. Hit that like button if you stand with Christine. Share this video with a woman who needs to hear it. And subscribe because we'll keep bringing you the hidden truths behind Sister Wives and the women who chose freedom. Because in the end, Christine's greatest act wasn't leaving Kody. It was choosing herself,